Hello again, welcome back to another episode. Today is another unboxing video. This time it is a Zenit EM Soviet Russian built camera from 1972 to 1984. This was around when I was growing up, and these were like the entry level SLRs. They were very affordable, plentiful. They made an awful lot. They made thousands. I think this one model, I think they made coming on for 1 million of them. So there's a lot of them about. They're not seen as being particularly desirable outside of people who collect Russian cameras, predominantly for the lenses, to be fair, because the lenses are interesting. Very well packaged, a box within a box, and you can't see very much, but heavy pieces. Loads of packing paper. Get rid of the box. This is a black version. They are available in chrome, but not a bad starting point. A bit like yesterday's video where I was showing you Praktika, which is another camera from the USSR. That one was made in Germany, in the city of Dresden. This one comes from a company called KMZ near Moscow. And these are sold all over the world. In the UK here, the importer is a company called Technical and Optical Equipment, TOE for short. In London, they used to check the cameras over when they came from the factory, make sure that they were of a good enough standard. Export goods are normally higher quality than what's sold in the domestic market. It's a pride thing, reputation. So you can see it's got a case. It is quite heavy. Not a big fan of cases. I think they cause a lot of deterioration, and they quite often they get mould and smelly, and they've been kept in inappropriate conditions. Anywhere where it's damp and cold, things get moist. Right, so this is the black version. Is available in chrome. Was sold by various other companies and other names as well. Can't remember what they were off the top of my head. Dixon's, a UK retailer, used to sell quite a lot of Zeniths as Princeflex cameras. It's quite attractive, the all black. There was a thing at the time that a lot of cameras were available in black or chrome, and the black versions were seen as being more desirable, more professional. They were usually a slightly higher price than the plain chrome versions, which is kind of interesting. You notice nowadays most cameras are black, apart from the odd sort of designer kind of cameras. But they, it seems to they've all gone black all over now. This is metal. It is all metal. There you go, made in the USSR. There's a symbol for KMZ. But yeah, heavy. Very heavy. Should be a serial number on these somewhere. And Russian serial numbers tell you the year it was made. Yeah, that's interesting. So the first 2 digits gives you the year of manufacture, in this case 1980, which is the same year as I think the Russians hosted the Olympics in 1980, if I remember right. I'm sure 84 was Los Angeles, because you see that on some of the Canon cameras, and on some of these you see the Olympic logo as well, but this one doesn't have it. It's usually up here on the pentaprism, but I might be wrong. It comes with the Helios 44M, which is a lens with quite a reputation. It's quite nice. 58mm f2. And this camera utilises the M42 mount as featured on the Praktika. So you just unscrew anti-clockwise until it comes off. And again, this camera has the little lever at the bottom for triggering the aperture in the lens. So the lens is an automatic lens in that respect. It's a standard 42 mil screw, but with this pin that stops down the aperture. Talking of which, let's have a look at the aperture. There's no oil on it, it's clean. The pattern looks reasonably good in there. And the lens looks absolutely spotless, actually. Russian lenses are incredible value for money. And if you're interested in old lenses, there's a superb channel called Zenography. And he is very keen and very knowledgeable about Russian lenses. He knows almost every model inside out. Highly recommended. But yeah, this is an f2 lens, so it's quite bright. Of course, the advantage of this is that the aperture stays open until you take the picture, and then it will close down. This has got an auto manual switch on it as well, so you can have it where it stays permanently shut. This is on manual now. And if you switch it over to the other side, it will only stop down when the camera stops it down. But yeah, nice lens, nice quality, pleased with that. It'll be interesting to try out. You'll notice on these the pentaprisms is quite small, and look at the size of the mirror. It's not really full size. Very few cameras actually show you 100% of what you're going to get on the film. That's really limited to professional cameras, the more expensive ones. But here, the field of view is very, very small. It's probably 70%, maybe slightly less, of what's going to be in the picture. So there's a lot of things on either side and top and bottom that you're not going to see in the viewfinder that will appear in the final picture. And that enables them to have this very small, or relatively small, pentaprism on the top. And of course it reduced costs, it's less glass. But yeah, it's quite nice. Self-timer on this side, a couple of lug straps, a logo. It's in quite nice condition actually. PC port, sync speed on this is the 30th of a second for electronic flash, which is rather on the slow side. But yeah, it's in fairly nice condition. This up here is the metering cells. It doesn't take a battery. I notice there's no battery for it. So these are selenium cells on the top. So that should be reacting to light. I haven't got my torch here, but so I'll point it towards the light. Is it moving slightly? Let's put it near a lamp and see if it's actually moving. Yeah, it is moving. So on the top dial here, we have film advance. And I was always taught adjust the shutter speed after you've advanced the film. I'm not quite sure if that is true or not, but I've always done that since when using any of these Russian cameras, because it is mechanical. There's only electronics in it is this meter and those cells. This is the shutter release. So you just push down on it, it's threaded for a cable release if needed. And then that fires the shutter. You'll notice the shutter speed dial moves. So you can wind it on. And then to change the shutter speed, you can see this is set 125th at the moment. You actually lift the dial up and then rotate it and let it drop back down to the speed that you want to set it to. And then fire. Apparently it damages the internals if you change the shutter speed before winding on. Top speed of a 500th, quite a limited choice, 500, 250, 125, 60, 30 and B. And that is your lot. And then here we have a dial for selecting whether you want to have X synchronization for electronic flash or this I would imagine is for bulbs, this MF. To rewind the film, again, it's not on the bottom, which you're kind of used to with these cameras. It's actually up here, it's this collar here that you turn when you want to rewind the film. You notice the red dot and the R arrow. So you can turn that, and that will disengage the sprocket drive and allow you to rewind the film. That's by this pop-up part here, so you can use this to rewind your film. This does pull all the way up. It's quite neat. On this side we have an exposure calculator. The Russians had their own classification for film speed, which I think translates as GOST, G-O-S-T. I've never really fully understood it. There's also DIN, which is the German standard, and ASA as well, which is the American standard, but it's now called ISO, which is the international standard. But you can see, I think this has got all the scales on it. I'm pretty sure that one in there is the ASA, that one is the DIN, and this one is the GOST. I've never really understood how the GOST one works. But from this you should be able to work out the shutter speed and the aperture. You basically adjust this to line up the needle, and then you should be able to read off a set of numbers. You can see the aperture scale on the inside, and then you've got a shutter speed selection on the outside. So this would be something like, my eyesight's terrible, 60th at f4, 125th at 2.8. Not coupled. The Practica I was showing yesterday, I think it was, if you changed the shutter speed, it would change, and it had a needle in the viewfinder. In some ways, you know, it was an earlier camera than this, 1968. It was more advanced in its features. This is a very, very simple camera, designed for reliability and ruggedness, bearing in mind what the climate's like in the Soviet Union weather-wise. And it was designed to be affordable to people who, quite frankly, didn't really earn an awful lot of money. So that just twists down. That's quite a nice touch. But yeah, very simple. Another bargain camera body. If you're just starting in film and don't want to invest a load of money, just pop that up. That opens up the back. Pressure plate, standard 35mm. We've got the multi-slotted take-up spool, the sprocket drive, horizontal cloth shutter, so you can see the two curtains coming across as it cocks. And it is loud. It's a loud camera, but this one's very clean condition actually. I'm very pleased with that. And has an automatic latching door as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's good. Hasn't had a lot of use by the look of it. Viewfinder is very plain and simple. There's no information in there really. There's a bit of a focusing aid in the middle, which is the micro prisms. And they just become sharper when the image is in focus. It's just in the center. But it's reasonably bright, and it is clean. It's not lost any of its mirroring inside the prism or whatever, so pretty good. Cold shoe, very basic M42 mount camera, but tough as old boots. You could bang nails in one of these. They are just a metal brick, and they were well built. That's plainly obvious for something that was been around the best part of what, 50 years. Yeah, that's quite impressive. Yeah, there won't be many cameras made today that will still be working in 50 years. Highly recommended. I've got quite a few Zenith and Practicas. And I think it's about time they got their 15 minutes of fame on the channel. And this is another example in a long line of them. This is, I think, came after the E. There was an E version, and then this is the EM, and then there was a couple of versions afterwards. Strangely enough, I've been reading recently about Zenit coming back into camera production with digital cameras, and they're working in collaboration with Leica. And there is a new Zenit EM camera around. It's quite limited production numbers, and it's about £7,000. It comes with a 50mm f1 lens or something. Which is kind of interesting. And they are being made, I think, in Germany by Leica, but I'm not sure. But yeah, they're back with a £7,000 digital camera. Fascinating. Anyway, there you have it, folks. Enough of all this. Zenit EM, beautiful black thing, really chunky and heavy. That's going to weigh around your neck, that is. But yeah, highly recommended. And I'll get a chance when the weather's improved. I'd like to put a film through it. Bring back some childhood memories. I remember these. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Comments, questions, queries, memories, opinions, anything down in the comments. I read all of them near enough. And don't forget to like and subscribe and all the usual stuff. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Let's see what tomorrow brings. But yeah, that's beautiful, smooth focus. Yeah. Impressed with that. Take care. Bye.